with Amy Lee and Helen Carnell.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to ITV News Tyne Tees. Tonight's headlines. Victorian levels of care. One patient's assessment of a health trust following a damning review into breast cancer services. Saturday night saviours. We head out with the street angels who've been watching over us for 20 years. We look ahead to the weekend sport as new borough boss Kim Helberg hopes to make his mark with his first match in charge. No kidding. Find out why this 6-metre giant straw goat is being pulled through the streets of Northumberland. First tonight, a breast cancer patient has called for real and lasting changes following a damning report into breast cancer services across Durham and Darlington. Earlier this week, County Durham and Darlington NHS Foundation Trust apologised after the independent review found some women came to avoidable harm with delayed diagnoses, unnecessary surgery and outdated practices included in a catalogue of issues over more than a decade. One patient has been describing the impact of the treatment that she received to our health correspondent Helen Ford.
She has described it as like care from the Victorian era. This cancer patient doesn't want to reveal her full identity, but is determined to speak out about her experiences of breast services provided by County Durham and Darlington NHS Foundation Trust.
It was just the conveyor belt. It was just a case of, it was like cattle. I just felt like I was a piece of cattle. Let's get the next one in, the next one in, the next one in. It was never, ever about care and about you. I'm a nurse. I've always been compassionate. And you can just sense the nurses sometimes are feeling like, that shouldn't have been done. What can I do?
This week, in the latest examination of the breast service, an independent review painted a bleak picture. It concluded some patients suffered avoidable harm, including delayed diagnoses and unnecessary mastectomies, leading to physical, emotional and psychological impacts on staff as well as patients. It describes poor clinical practice which was allowed to continue because of failures in governance and leadership. The majority of those affected were patients at the University Hospital of North Durham. On Wednesday at a public board meeting, the newly appointed Trust Chief Executive issued an apology, something he reiterated today. How confident can people be that real change is taking place?
So the breast service today is very different to how it was before. We've appointed some new surgeons who have got additional skills and are able to offer women immediate reconstruction where they're having breast surgery, and they're also able to offer breast conserving surgery, which is very, very important. We've also upgraded the equipment that the service uses and the way in which the one-stop breast clinics run, which means people are getting the right type of diagnostic tests performed, which helps us then make sure that the right treatment is offered to women.
Mr. Russell also said work is taking place to address changes in culture, leadership and governance, something he acknowledged wouldn't happen overnight. For breast cancer patient Sue, this is a pivotal moment. You say you've received a number of apologies. The Trust has given public apologies as well. How far does that go for you?
I've never been the real Sue. I just try and make everybody else happy while I'm suffering inside and think, just get on with it, girl. But now I'm actually seeing justice and this is going to be closure for me. If I can help another lady, then I will. And if I can make any changes, it's got to happen.
As far as Sue's breast cancer prognosis is concerned, the signs are looking positive. She now wants to step out of the shadow surrounding her treatment.
And Helen joins us now in the studio. And Helen, Sue's case has already been reviewed, hasn't it, by the Health Trust? Just give us a sense of the scale of what's taking place here.
Yes, first of all, I think it's really important just to mention that Sue has been diagnosed with breast cancer twice in the last couple of decades. So this is something that has really dominated her life for a very, very long time. More broadly, the Trust has told us that it believes just over 40 women have suffered serious or moderate harm as a result of their treatment, and this could be something like having had a mastectomy unnecessarily. But this case does go much wider. Altogether, around 1,400 women's cases are being reviewed between 2023 and the start of this year. Around 300 have been reviewed already, but there's still obviously an awful long way still to go, and it may well be that in the fullness of time, cases going further back may be looked at too. Running parallel to all this, though, we've been told by a number of legal firms that they've had inquiries from patients who believe they may have a case against the Trust.
We've had a number of inquiries since the Royal College of Surgeons report in July. The more recent independent report further highlights the Trust's failures. As such, there's been an erosion of patient trust, and we anticipate more patients will come forward and question the treatment they've received.
Okay, Helen, for now, thank you very much indeed. And if you have been impacted by anything in Helen's report, by this story, and you would like to share your experiences, then you can. You can get in touch with us at amyanddean@itv.com. We would really like to hear from you.
Now, the weekend is almost here. It's Friday night, and there might be a few of us heading out for drinks with friends this evening.
Yes, in some of our towns and cities, there will be teams of volunteers, though, looking out for them. They're called Street Angels, and this month marks 20 years since the first team of Street Angels was established.
But who are they and what do they do? James Webster has spent an evening finding out.
It's 10 o'clock on Saturday night.
Good evening, this is Street Angels signing on. Can we please get a radio check?
And these volunteers will spend the next few hours looking for anyone who might need help.
What we tend to be looking for are people on their own, people who maybe look a little unhappy or a little upset, and then they see us and, it all comes out, we can help.
It can escalate quickly and it can be called to very different scenarios. It could be someone who's really drunk, someone who's hit their head, possible spiking and things like that.
Sometimes it's asking if someone's okay.
I just normally ask, hi, are you alright? She just said her feet hurt, so she was just going to have a bit of a sit down before she went in.
It's exactly 20 years this month since Street Angels was founded by volunteers at one church, led by Paul Blakey.
People having far too much to drink, people lying in the gutter, violence was fairly common, sexual assaults was common, binge drinking, underage drinking. Although, you know what, as a Christian, I believe that our town deserves better. Just story after story from each of our projects, people who wouldn't be alive today if it weren't for the Street Angels because of that intervention that they gave.
What started as one team in one town has grown into more than 100 teams of volunteers across the country. One of them in our region is based in South Shields, where Judith Oldroyd is the coordinator.
On a nice evening, then it's invariably busier. But you can never be sure, and it may mean we're involved, it may not mean we're involved. But we're there to assist wherever we can, either directing people who may be lost, offering flip-flops for people with shoes that have become very painful, first aid equipment, which we always carry with us.
I think one of the things I love about this job.
The volunteers all receive training. Tonight, a session on diffusing any challenging situations. They also do basic first aid and personal safety.
So when you're actually on the job, that's when you learn the real skill of being a street angel. But as we come across a new situation, we'll be like, oh wow, we did not know how to deal with this situation. How can we build our collective knowledge?
It's now just after midnight and it's clear not everyone wants help. The team are looking out for people putting themselves in potentially dangerous situations. Thankfully, this young man got down safely. I was interested in why these volunteers give up their evenings.
It's nice to be part of this good community and help people.
It is impossible to know how many people like Evie these volunteers have helped over the years, but there are many whose nights out have been made safer thanks to the Street Angels. James Webster, ITV News.
You're watching ITV News Tyne. Still to come on tonight's programme.
Lights, camera, action. The new festive film set in North Yorkshire, bringing Hollywood stars to our doorstep.
And we're welcoming in winter in Wooler as the Yule celebrations begin with the help of this giant Yule goat.
And the ITV Evening News continues after us at 6:30 tonight with Gregg Vincent.
Coming up on the programme, mass screening for prostate cancer has not been recommended for use on the NHS, but some men will be screened. We'll have the details and the reaction. Jailed for life, the man who murdered a pensioner before robbing him of his shopping, a box of cornflakes and a cottage pie. Rachel Reeves is accused of misleading the country before the budget, and the campaign to save the spot where Auld Lang Syne was written. Join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Next tonight, we're being told that a new charge on businesses to pay for the cost of recycling packaging could push up prices in the run-up to Christmas.
Yeah, retail bosses say that they are generally in favour of the move. Some companies, though, especially smaller ones, are already under financial pressure.
Since October, businesses have started receiving their first invoices under a new government scheme known as EPR. Kevin Ashford reports.
This dairy in Wingate in County Durham says it's already feeling the effects of the EPR, and the financial burden has a wider impact.
I think when you take into account that, particularly for small businesses, costs have probably been rising in every area over the last 12 months, for the government to then implement this tax on top of that is a little bit of a kick in the teeth. With the money that we're putting towards this tax, we probably could have created 3 jobs in addition to our current workforce, which in the North East would have been very beneficial.
The idea of the levy is to shift the cost of doing this, collecting and recycling waste, from the consumer and more onto the producer, and to encourage those who put the packaging into the system to use less of it.
We're proliferating with packaging, and so ultimately anything that's going to help us make better use of that packaging by putting money into the system is good news. But also it's about driving the type of packaging off the market that is perhaps harder to recycle. So longer term, we'll see more recyclable, easier to recycle packaging.
Environmental campaigners say the introduction of the scheme is long overdue, and they hope it'll improve recycling rates in this country.
Ultimately, in the long run, you do want to see a whole system change, because being stuck at 44% recycling for a decade and not really seeing any decreases in packaging, that's not a good place to be starting from. So we have got a long journey ahead of us, I'm afraid.
The Retail Industries Trade Association say they welcome the scheme, but warn of its impact on prices for all of us in the run-up to Christmas.
It's already estimated that these bills will add about 0.5% to food price inflation. So we're seeing it coming through already now. So that on top of other bills like business rates, higher labour charges, are all making it very, very difficult for retailers. And even the government admits 80% of this charge, which runs into the billions, will be passed to us as consumers because retailers don't have any more capacity to absorb it.
The government told ITV News that the scheme will generate more than £1 billion every year, which must be spent by councils to improve recycling collections, as we aim to cut the amount of waste we throw away. Kevin Ashford, ITV News.
Right, it's Friday night, it's 14 minutes past 6, and that can mean only one thing. It's time for a look ahead now to the weekend sport, and tonight we've got Gregg, who's in for Simon.
Powering local sport in the community, Octopus Energy sponsors ITV Regional Sports Report.
Greg, I gather you got a little present there for Eddie Howe and the boys?
I have indeed. Good evening both. Sorry I'm not the regular guy. He'll be back soon, I'm sure. Here on the Tyne Sports Desk, we like to feel like we do our best for all of our clubs. So we've had a little bit of a whip round, and we've got Eddie Howe. These, what are they, I hear you ask? Travel sickness tablets. Because as every devoted Toon fan knows, their team are really struggling on the road this season. Not a single win in the league playing away so far in this campaign. And this weekend sees them getting on the team bus yet again. So maybe the old tablets will help. Sunderland, meanwhile, are at home where their form continues to shine.
On the road again. Just can't wait to get on.
Who doesn't love a football away day? Possibly not the devoted, never miss a match, travelling black and white brigade right now. So far this season, they'll have clocked up, wait for it, 6,200 miles to see the team notch up just one win. November in particular has been a nightmare for Eddie Howe's men, with defeats away to West Ham, Brentford and this week Marseille. And tomorrow sees a 350-mile round trip for an evening match at Everton's swanky new Palace. So Eddie, what's the problem on the road? Eddie?
Yeah, I did think that might come up. And I still don't know what to say to that. I mean, this season, for whatever reason, has brought about a set of circumstances, really, that I have, of course, have to comment on, and rightly so. But sometimes you don't have necessarily all the right responses or answers, sorry, should I say, to the set questions. And I think anyone that comes out with one definitive answer, I think that's a difficult one to judge.
It does feel like it's become a thing now, Newcastle's away form, and it feels like they need to stop the rot sooner rather than later, because the reality is, if they're going to find consistency in the league, which they need to if they're going to climb the table, they're going to have to start getting results away from home.
Sunderland, meanwhile, are at home, where the Stadium of Light's become a fortress none of the pre-season bound to go down doommongers expected. The Black Cats haven't lost a match on Wearside, something Reggie Lebris puts down in part to some equally superb support.
Yeah, at home we have this advantage, and I think it's really massive because our fans, our stadium are really useful for that. So far it worked well.
The Stadium Light feels like a really, really difficult place for opposition teams to go, and I think that'll continue to be the case. That derby game in December promises to be an absolute cracker, doesn't it?
Ah, yes, that derby game, by the way, is only 16 days away now. Don't worry though, Toon fans, win or lose, the Stadium of Light is just down the road.
Yeah, Greg, that derby day is getting closer all the time, isn't it? I know you're not supposed to look too far ahead, but who do you think is looking in better shape right now, Newcastle or Sunderland?
Come on, Amy, that's one of those questions that can get me lynched coming out of here. But let me put it this way, if I can. There are those who would tell you with a kind of knowing look on their face that the league doesn't lie. But look at it, Sunderland looking good in 7th place, much to the surprise of many. Newcastle, meanwhile, down in 14th. Of course, then you give the Black Cats on that evidence not only a better chance in a home derby, but a better chance of surely finishing higher at the end of the season than their rivals. But, you know, this league and this season in particular has turned out to be wildly misleading. Just 4 points is all that separates them in a campaign that's been really tight so far. And don't forget, it was around this time last year that Newcastle went on an inspired match-winning run that saw them win a cup and qualify for the Champions League. In other words, anything can happen, every game matters, and every other sporting cliché you could care to mention right now. Turning to the Championship, where a new era begins in Middlesbrough on Saturday with a different kind of derby day. Kim Hellberg will take charge of his first game as Borough boss since replacing Rob Edwards earlier this week. He's already had a taste of the Riverside, taking on a watching brief on Tuesday for defeat to Coventry City. Now he'll have his chance to make his mark from the dugout at home to Derby. Hellberg says he can't wait for kick-off.
I get a little bit of goosebumps when I stepped out on Tuesday evening. I think that was amazing, and I was a proud moment for me, and I was very happy, and the reception from the fans was amazing. And of course it would be one step more now. I'm looking forward to Saturday very, very much.
Don't forget, you can see all the big moments from Hellberg's first game in charge of the EFL on the EFL Highlights show. It's on ITV4 at 9 o'clock. You can also catch highlights from Harrogate's trip to Barnet on that programme too. Finally, want to mention Newcastle and Sunderland are among 16 host cities named in the UK's official bid to stage the Women's World Cup in 2035. I know it's a way off yet. 22 proposed stadiums include St James's Park and the Stadium of Light, which of course launched the Women's Rugby World Cup this summer. The UK is expected to be named as host pretty much for certain though after submitting the only viable bid, and that's It's Your Sport.
Marvellous, Gregg, thank you very much. Next, from Hollywood to Harrogate and beyond. You might have spotted stars of the big screen in the back streets of towns, including Knaresborough and Harrogate, earlier this year.
Yeah, they were filming a Christmas comedy film. It's called Tinseltown, and it's got an A-list cast as well, including Rebel Wilson and Danny Dyer.
The big premiere was held last night in Leicester Square, and today we've been to meet some of the local stars. Helen Steele reports.
There is one thing knocking around. Theatre in England.
Yes. It's the story of a famous American actor.
The pant on me, Sprant Mac.
Who's welcomed into a fictional Yorkshire village with open arms.
Nice and quiet all round there, thank you.
But this is the story of how the real folk of Yorkshire played host to Hollywood.
And action.
It all started back in February, when filmmakers brought the likes of Rebel Wilson, Kiefer Sutherland and Derek Jacobi to Wetherby, Harrogate and Wakefield. And here in Knaresborough, this salon made the cut, appearing in the final edit. Hi Kelly! Hello. I hear they were filming just out there, and you were desperate to get your hands on the hair.
Yeah, that's right. So why don't we do yours today?
Amazing.
Fabulous. Come on over.
Tell me all about it.
We didn't know the name of the film. We were just asked to sort of like keep our Christmas decorations up.
Got that? Spring trolleys in, please.
A lot of what you saw was Bromley's coming out because of the weather, wasn't it?
Yeah, we overheard them doing their like Yorkshire accents, but the main thing was about getting the brollies back over the hair. But now I do wish I'd have got her in for a hair done.
Thank you so much. I'll go and meet your sister now, is that okay?
Yeah, go meet my sister.
So, your flat up there, they actually filmed from there, didn't they?
Yes, that's correct. Yes, so they had two actors from the window. There was a scene out in this yard where Kiefer Sutherland was stopping some robbers. So we're really hoping that all the local businesses and shops are in the film. That'd be really great. I think a lot of people do like films. I think they'll want to come and see the locations. Hopefully the traders will see more. People want pictures.
I quit.
The pantomime is opening tomorrow night.
Dad, keep trying to run away.
Well, with backdrops like this, it's clear to see why filmmakers would want to come here. And people here in Yorkshire clearly took delight in having Hollywood stars come to their hometown. But what was clear from last night's premiere was that the feeling was mutual.
Oh yeah, Yorkshire's always wonderful. Oh, fantastic. Freezing.
First question, follows the story of someone who's really disappointed to end up in Yorkshire. I mean, surely that's not right. It's great, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, I loved my time up in Yorkshire. I mean, it was very, very cold because we filmed the movie in February. But, I mean, the people there were so welcoming. I just had a great time.
We've only got a few days to get this show on the road. What was your best warm-up line to get into the accent?
I love, yeah,
that's all you need, isn't it? For others, it was the pull of Yorkshire and Christmas.
I think what Christmas represents and its potential is bringing together family and friends. And I think everybody has so much hope.
And there's hope back here that filmmakers will flock to Yorkshire, its famous ruins leading to riches.
It's showtime.
Helen Steele, ITV News.
Oh, that's loads of fun. The decorations are up. Oh, censorship medallion is fine, but that looks like loads of fun.
Good on Yorkshire as well. It's good.
And a party is in full swing in Northumberland to welcome in the winter. This one is reviving some very old customs.
Yeah, earlier a giant straw goat was parading through Wooler. It was all in a nod to our Anglo-Saxon past, and to explain more and what else to expect and hopefully to see the goat, we can join Julia Bartholomew, who is at Ardgeffrin, which is the town's museum and whisky distillery, isn't it, Julia? Hiya.
That's right, I am indeed here with the giant Yule goat. You can see he is towering 6 metres above me here at Ardgeffrin Anglo-Saxon Museum. He's just led a candlelit parade through Wooler, and that is starting the Yuletide celebrations here in the town. And I'm not even going to try and explain to you why a Yule goat. I'm going to ask the expert, Chris Ferguson, director of the museum here, why a goat?
Well, because we're celebrating the best of Anglo-Saxon Christmas. So we had Christmas trees, we had Yule logs, and they also had straw goats. You decorate them around your house, they'd welcome in St. Nicholas, Santa Claus, they'd bring you sort of good festivities, goodwill for the season. So we've created an enormous one to celebrate Yule this year.
And why have you decided to have Yuletide festivities so much here?
So we have gatherings, so there are gatherings where we bring the community together. So this is a thing for Wooler. We've had funding from the North East Combined Authority to bring our Yule gathering for the whole weekend. We've got celebrity chefs, we've got music all over today, tomorrow and Sunday. And this is sort of something for the community for Wooler that's the start of an annual tradition.
Lovely. Well, I'm lucky enough to be joined by one of the people who's had a hand in making this goat, which is fairly impressive. Paula, talk me through it. How do you start making a 6 metre high goat?
It was designed by Lookit Orbital FX, who's based in Durham, and we've built his skeleton at the yard of Albert Fairlington, who is a local joiner. So he has a wooden skeleton inside him, and then we've covered him in mesh. Myself and my colleague Sophie have made a skin for him with hessian and straw sewn on over the top, and it's taken us ages.
And he's going to be here for a month. Is he going to be able to withstand what the weather throws at him?
He should be. He actually used less than a whole round bale of straw, and we still have some of the very same bale left, so we can sew in if he does get bald patches due to wind or bad weather conditions.
Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed that he withstands it well. He was certainly a big hit in Wooler today as he led that parade through the town.
It's really big and amazing. And it's like you use a lot of straw to build it up.
Tell me, what do you think of the goat?
It's bonkers.
I think the goat's fantastic, and it's really lovely to see all of the community come out to do another brilliant Wooler event near Christmas.
I think it's excellent. It's excellent.
Yeah, it's good for Wooler.
It's good for Wooler. It's brought lots of fun and entertainment into there, and we're looking forward for tomorrow as well.
Well, at the end of the parade, the goat led everyone here to Ardgeffra Museum, and the party is continuing with a ceilidh band, as you can hear and see behind me. The celebrations carry on all weekend, and then actually all the way through the Yule period. The goat will be here till the 6th of January, and all the way through that time, entrance to the museum is free, and people from right across the region are invited to come and join these Yuletide celebrations.
Julia and Wooler, thank you so much. That sounds great, doesn't it?
I think we all need a big straw, giant-sized goat in our lives.
Yeah. More straw goats, that's what we say. So will that straw goat withstand the weather? Well, his time starts now. James Wright, how's your forecast?
A heavy downpour will subside and light relaxation will set in.
TUI sponsors ITV Tyne Tees Weather.
Hi there, good evening. A bit of a messy picture over the weekend in terms of the detail. On the whole, it looks as though tomorrow will be a little wetter and chilly than Sunday, dry, sunny, but still chilly. What's going on? A bit of a pesky low pressure system developing the southwest approaches. That's going to try to eat the system that's to the north of us, and that kind of gives us this bit of a no man's land where a couple of options might happen. We'll talk about that in a moment. Sunday, much nicer, ridge of high pressure, more rain on the way for Monday, so a bit of a soaker as we head into next week. Back to the detail tonight. Not looking too bad, some decent clear spells. This little feature to the north sort of peters out temporarily. Later on in the night, that low starts to introduce more cloud further south. Temperatures about 5 or 6 Celsius, so cool rather than cold. So at the moment, we've got two little systems sandwiching us. What then happens is a bit more rain starts to push up from the south. That little feature in the north perks up a little bit, and they sort of collide. One sort of eats the other, and as it does so, we may well pick up a little bit of extra rain as we head through the back end of the day. A little bit breezy too. Temperature-wise, looking at 7 or 8 Celsius. That little system then corkscrews away, leaving us with some nice dry weather overnight into Sunday. Bit of a frost frosty start than a chilly day generally for Sunday, but some nice late autumn sunshine to make up for it. There's your next system. That'll be pushing through overnight into Monday. Then it looks as though we'll see some more rain pushing up from the south and the west later on in the day.
TUI sponsors ITV Tyne Tees weather.
Thank you, James. The national news is next.
I've got the latest at 11:20, but for now we're going to leave you with some lovely Yuletide music from Wooler. Have a lovely weekend and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.